Well, if any of you can find me a disease, if anybody in this room can find me any disease that is caused by elevated blood cholesterol and triglycerides, I'll give you $1 million, small bills, and any offshore account you want tax-free. There's not a single disease caused by elevated blood cholesterol and triglycerides. When you have
Truly the best way to describe a good diet would be to say, I'm a vegan who eats a whole bunch of meat. And I don't care who gets mad at that. I really don't care. That's the best way to describe the optimal diet for a human being. So if you really want to know what I am, well, I'm a vegan that eats about 6 eggs a day and about a pound of red meat a day. So that's what I am. Okay, first thing up here. So if you want to get your $1 million, you can go get your $1 million. If you feel that you can prove that you can make your $1 million, go ahead and try for it, because that guy's still offering the money. So go ahead and get your money. Okay, so this is going to be in relation to diet. So I'm always talking about diet and all kinds of stuff. And people always ask me questions like, so what do you do for your diet? Well, I don't really have an answer for that, because my diet is I'll just eat literally any whole food that there is. So any fruit, vegetable, meat product, animal product you name, I'll pretty much eat it, as long as it's not cooked in a way that turns it into poison, which is what most of you do with most of your food. And that's what you can quite easily do with the topic at hand here. The topic at hand is, of course, cholesterol, as you saw by the opener. And cholesterol is one of the most volatile substances in relation to diet that you can find, because various cooking methods can completely denature and destroy cholesterol and turn it into a toxic nightmare that will cause you health problems down the line. So basically today, what I'm doing here is I'm going to try to teach you everything I know about cholesterol so you can finally learn it the same way I learned it. Except I'm making it easy for you, and I'm cutting up and I'm editing the clips for you, so you don't have to go and spend hours and hours and hours searching for vital information. But you can do that, and you should do that, using the resources that I give you to learn from in the comments section of the video, which is what I'm going to do.
Anybody in your family lived in their 80s or 90s? Raise your hand. Sure, I think most people in America have had somebody in their family live to be 80, 90. I guarantee you they ate eggs, they cooked in butter, they didn't have margarine back then, they salted their food, these people smoked, they ate red meat instead of tofu, they ate eggs instead of egg beaters, they didn't exercise, and yet they lived to be 80, 90. Many of them went on to live to be 100. And following their advice, we're going backwards. Spending $100 billion a year for cholesterol levels and eating the way doctors have told us. Most people revere their doctors. We've gone from 17th in the world in longevity to 24th. So it doesn't seem like all that's doing much good.
I myself have a tale of the two cholesterols with my own family in this. I've got, on my mom's side, everybody in my family lived to like 90-something. Great-grandma lived to like 111. My grandpa smoked like a chimney until he was like 85. And then on the other side, where you have the denatured cholesterol side, the people who didn't eat eggs, the people who were afraid of, and listened to all of what the doctor said, well, oh wait, every single one of them's dead. Yep, let me think. Yep, every one of them's dead. So, I mean, we all have a story, you know.
Everything that you know about cholesterol is wrong. Not for any fault of your own, but because you have been a victim of misleading pharmaceutical propaganda for the last 50 years. I'm taking off the gloves with this one, folks. Cholesterol is a waxy steroid substance in the body. Every cell of your body, the wall around your cell, like the wall around a castle, is made from cholesterol. All of your sex hormones, testosterone, estradiol, estrone, estriol, progesterone, pregnenolone, all the stress hormones, cortisol, dihydroepiandrosterone, all of 75% of the white matter of your brain and all of the insulation that wraps around your nerves is made from cholesterol. You think it's important? Yeah, you better bet your life it's important. It's so important to the human body that your liver makes it. This is how statin drugs work. Statin drugs create inflammation in the liver, which halts the body's production of cholesterol. And then when you put people on a fat-free diet, their cholesterol goes into the gutter.
So with this one, I'm going to go over my favorite meal here. So my favorite meal, well, actually, I'm going to start it out with, this is how I do every meal. Like, literally every meal I eat, it's the same. It's got an amount of eggs, which will be soft boiled in this case, which will be 5 today, and I like to eat more than that normally. Then I have a centerpiece of meat, which today is raw chicken livers. That could be anything: pork, beef, chicken, lamb, almost anything it could be, honestly. And then a plate of vegetables. It's pretty simple. And then I've actually done this recently, but I added rice and potatoes. I mixed those together, and I mix in the fat typically from when that would be like a steak or piece of chicken or whatever. So I mix in the juices from that into the rice and potatoes and eat it that way. But today I don't have meat juices, so I'll be mixing in some beef tallow to it. All right. So and then here's what I also want to say: before every meal, I take salt. This is fucking salt you buy at the agricultural store. So what do I got here? Half teaspoon. You take. Well, actually, I got 2 kinds of teaspoon. That's Redmond's real salt down there. Okay, so you take a half teaspoon of salt, you drop it in your mouth, and you swallow it down with water roughly 3 to 5 minutes before you start eating. And also, half hour before you start eating, you want to go with something like this. Put it in your stomach. It's got to have betaine hydrochloride with pepsin, otherwise betaine hydrochloride doesn't work. Okay, so that's one thing. Ox bile is another strategy you can have. And then you can also do something like digestive enzymes, which in this case, this digestive enzyme product not only has digestive enzymes, but it's also got betaine HCl and ox bile added to it, and then these other digestive enzymes here, which are incredibly important, and you have no idea how badly you need them in your life. Okay, so you take one of these, however many you want. You can take 4 of these before a meal. You probably start feeling sick. You can take like 10 of these if you want. You got to get yourself used to it, though. You don't want to start out taking 10. This you got to be careful with. This stuff is nasty. So basically, you just take this a half hour before you start eating, about 5 minutes before you start eating, and you take some salt. Then you pound a whole bunch of protein with some vegetables, protein, etc. And that's basically how you do a meal. But none of this matters without the supplements in here: Beyond Tangy Tangerine, OsteoFX, and a variety of other things. I also got some glucogel in there. I've got Ultimate Moringa. I've got some kind of tea extract product, green tea extract product. I forget the name of it offhand. But yeah, without any of this, you'll never be able to stick to a meal plan like this. You can lie and say you do, but you don't. Because if you ain't taking trace minerals, you ain't going to stick to it. Alright, so yeah, that's basically my favorite meal. Hell, I'm going to do this on camera for you. I think I'm going to have to make this the second part, but I'm going to eat some of this raw liver on camera for you. I'll show you what I do. So all I do right here is I cut up the raw liver with the scissors a whole bunch. Cut it up. Oh, and then I gotta say this. These sprouts right here, these are homegrown sprouts, baby. These ones, I took out the roots with them, so they're not as appealing visually as these. Here's my visually appealing sprouts. These are rutabaga sprouts. These down here are radish sprouts. The radish sprouts are ridiculously spicy. So yeah, in a minute here, I'm gonna eat this. My timer went off on my 3 minutes there. So, okay, but the one thing I want to say here is, the reason you want to eat liver, see this cholesterol count right here? There's 5 servings of 385 milligrams of cholesterol in there. That's almost 2 grams of cholesterol. If you ain't eating your cholesterol in grams, well, I don't know what to tell you. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Same thing goes with saturated fat. Liver is not an ideal source of saturated fat. Obviously, you want to go with something like a big hunk of steak for that, like a ribeye, or other things can provide better sources of saturated fat. But you don't ever want to limit either one of those. You want to strive to get over 2 grams of cholesterol a day. And then there's plus the cholesterol in the eggs. I forget how much is in each egg. But you want to get, like, you're crazy if you go for anything. Like, if you count this protein crap here versus the cholesterol and you think the protein's more important, you're out of your mind. And also, look at the vitamin A count. That's just free. Oh, and this stuff costs $1.36. So, whatever, it's like 99 cents a pound for liver. You can get here's another pro tip. Go to an Asian market, and you can get liver for $1 a pound there, or 90 cents a pound some places, up to $1.30 a pound. Beef liver too, not just these ridiculous chicken livers. You want to go with a bigger animal for that. But yeah, so cholesterol, if you don't know, I don't know what to tell you. You should know. Alright, so I'm about to eat this on camera for you guys. Oh, some tasty raw liver. I'll be honest with you, sounds fucking gross, but I just swallow it down with water, and it's not that bad that way. I'm gonna have a hard time not making a mess with this. I think I'm just gonna have to sacrifice making a mess. Get my phone a little bloody. Well, here we go.
Let's look at cholesterol first. It's actually a steroid. It's the raw material that we make things in our bodies with. I believe that cholesterol is an essential nutrient, just like the omega-3 essential fatty acids and the omega-6s and vitamins and minerals, amino acids, that cholesterol is in fact an essential nutrient. And I believe in the next few weeks or years, certainly they're going to declare officially, quietly, that cholesterol is an essential nutrient. We can't make enough to fulfill our needs. We must consume it either as meat or eggs or dairy products or chicken skin. We have to take in some cholesterol someplace. If you look at male hormones, testosterone, female hormones, estrogen and progesterone, if you look at adrenal hormones, these are made up of cholesterol. It's a basic raw material that all our hormones, well, I can't say all our hormones, but it's a basic raw material that our steroid type hormones are made from. Cholesterol, even vitamin D. The chemical name for vitamin D is 7-hydroxycholesterol. All right, cholesterol is not bad.
Two things here. The main reason that this is so utterly important is that this cholesterol demon that we've all been told to and, well, lied about is the foundation of the medical paradigm that causes the sickness and disease we see in society today. If it weren't for the medical doctors lying to us about their cholesterol hypothesis, there wouldn't be the massive glut of health problems that we see in America today, which have led us to being not only the fattest nation in the history of the world, but also the sickest nation in the history of the world. And on top of those two things, we're the fattest and the sickest by far in history. Nobody has ever even come close to being as in poor of health as we are right now in America today. And then the other thing on top of that, we spend more money than every other nation on earth combined on our health care. And we get the results of being the sickest and fattest nation in the history of the world. So why is that? Well, you can actually pretty much unravel the vast majority of the mystery with the cholesterol nonsense that has been pushed by the medical paradigm upon us, and it's built on nothing but lies. It takes maybe a half hour of research to know in your heart deeply that cholesterol is not the demon that it's made out to be, and that it is actually something that is incredibly important to our health. Add a couple hours onto that to really understand the science at hand. And, well, when you get an entire medical paradigm of people who tell you that you can only achieve good health through the elimination of dietary cholesterol, you're seeing what that's going to do to a society in the world you're living in today. The vast majority of the madness in the world is derived from the demon that is cholesterol, except for it's because we're not getting it.
Where it bends. Now listen, if cholesterol was a problem, it would be a problem in the veins as well as the arteries. But it's only a problem in the arteries. It's never a problem in the veins. This is another nail in the coffin against cholesterol being the culprit, because if it was cholesterol that was the culprit, it would happen in the veins also. But it's not. And here's what happens. You eat all the wrong food. You eat wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and oils, and fried foods, and the skins of baked potatoes, and well-done meat, and nitrates in meat. There's crap in the food, crap in the air, crap in the water. Your body needs this much nutrition. It only has this much nutrition. So it can't fight the inflammation that's caused by the food. So you eat food, it introduces free radicals into the body. The free radicals travel in the bloodstream and pile up at the bend of the arteries, just like sand in a river. When free radicals pile up against the bend of an artery, they create oxidative damage and the artery starts to tear. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a bad thing, because if the artery tears, you're going to bleed to death. So the body wants to stop that at all costs. The body has wisdom. So it rushes to stop the leak. And what does it use? It uses what it has a lot of, cholesterol. So it puts a cholesterol bandage on the part of the artery that's starting to leak. But that, of course, causes more free radicals to pile up right there, because that's the nature of fluid dynamics. And then you get more inflammation and more cholesterol deposition and more inflammation and more cholesterol deposition, and then the whole artery's clogged. The cholesterol is the body's bandage. It is not the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem is oxidative damage caused by eating the wrong foods and not having enough antioxidants in the body to fix it. Free radicals are in all of these foods, and most Americans eat all of these foods for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we wonder why we're sick. And then you go to your doctor and he tells you, oh, it's just aging or it's genetic. It's a crock of crap. You get clogged arteries because you've been eating all the wrong food all of your life, and it's your doctor's fault. It's not your fault. Now, the fix for this is to stop eating those foods and to increase your intake of antioxidants. It's antioxidants suck up and neutralize the free radicals that are causing the damage. It's kind of a no-brainer. So our goal here with antioxidants is 20,000 ORAC points a day of antioxidants. Longevity has a number of supplements that you can get that through the new chocolate that they have.
Well, yes, I do buy and consume the same supplements sold by the guy in the video, but there's a reason for that. Each one of these pills is 82 cents, and it has 40,000 ORAC points per pill. So I take about 1.5 a day. That gives me 60,000 ORAC points. For 82 cents each, that's an incredible value considering you get a whole bunch of extra vitamins and minerals on top of that in this. So it's really and truly world-breaking, incredible, incredulous monster of a product that anybody would be a fool not to take. Well, I haven't really gone over this one yet, but I'm going to very soon. You don't know this yet, but the medical paradigm itself, known as allopathic medicine, known as MD, medical care, aka the medical doctor that you have. Well, see, here's the thing that nobody knows about them. These people only live to 58 years old on average. Their average lifespan is 58 years. Your average couch potato lives to about 75. You know what the real reason it is that doctors die so young and die so often at a young age? Well, the reason is because they actually believe that dietary cholesterol is incredibly dangerous for you. They literally think it's a massive boogeyman. They're terrified of it. They're so terrified of it that they're incapable of learning about it because they've been so scared and been made to believe that it's such a demon when in reality it's the reason they die young.
This came out in 1995. This little study was presented at the annual meeting of the American Heart Association in Anaheim, California. They said 2 eggs a day won't hurt. And when that report came out in 1995, that sent a shockwave through the entire medical system. Because coming out, eggs were the father of the devil. I mean, if you ate eggs, you were doomed. Nobody would hang around you. He's an egg eater. You know.
Okay, 2 things here that are going to catch a lot of people's attention. But first one is sexual health. You cannot have adequate sexual health without a high dietary cholesterol intake on a daily basis. If you do not have a high daily intake of cholesterol on a regular basis that's also not denatured and cooked properly, you will have sexual health problems. You won't be able to get a boner. You'll just see what's going on with all the men in society today where they aren't adequate and they aren't satisfying any of the women out here. So that's pretty much what you're going to see from cholesterol deficiency. And the other one here,
I really like this one. Makes my 10 look pretty conservative. This came out 13 years ago. New England Journal of Medicine, very respectable medical journal. Normal cholesterol in an 88-year-old man who eats 25 eggs a day. Now you have to ask yourself, why was this old dude eating 25 eggs a day? Maybe he didn't have any teeth and couldn't eat steaks anymore. Maybe he owned an egg farm and liked to do his own quality control. But I think it was more scientific than that. If you appreciate that 95% of male sex hormone, testosterone, 95% of female sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone. 95% of the weight of our adrenal hormones, our adrenaline, comes from a master steroid in our body. It's made from a master steroid in our body called cholesterol. You can only make 10%. The other 90% must come from your diet. And when your adrenal glands are exhausted, what's the most likely thing that you're not consuming enough of? Cholesterol. When you're sitting there watching TV, guys, when your wife's saying, "Hey, look at my nice nightgown. Would you rather watch TV or watch me?" And she's got you on an egg-free, butter-free, chicken skin-free, red meat-free diet. Yeah. Have you ever wondered why there's no flourishing colonies of vague ants? All sit around and hum.
Okay, so pretty much everybody you know, they always talk about how they don't have energy to do anything, and they're all burnt out, and their hormones are out of whack and all that nonsense, and they don't want to do anything with their time because they hurt all the time. Well, pretty much a good reason for that, or a good deal of the reason for that, is because you don't have adequate dietary cholesterol intake. Every single hormone in your body is built up by cholesterol. Every hormonal function in your body is built by cholesterol. You can't have adequate respiratory health without dietary cholesterol. You can't have adequate anything without dietary cholesterol being adequate in your diet on a daily basis. And you also have to make sure you don't ever denature the food at the same time. So when you see everybody out here in society talking about how they don't have energy all the time, well, this is exactly why. It's the root cause of everything, because everybody is starting with not only denatured cholesterol as a staple of their diet, but also a total lack of knowledge of why they need dietary cholesterol in their diet in the first place. Nobody knows about it, and they're suffering the ill health side effects as a result of it.
Good morning, I'm Pharmacist Ben, and it's time for another moment of truth. Despite our collective fear of cholesterol, as it turns out, the connection between its levels in the blood and poor health, cardiovascular or otherwise, is less than convincing. People with high cholesterol can live long lives, and people with low cholesterol have heart disease. What is true is cholesterol is arguably the most important biochemical in the body. It stimulates healing, and it's the source of the hormones of youth and fertility. Cholesterol also keeps the skin hydrated, soft, and youthful. What is also true is cholesterol levels go up when blood sugar goes up. So if you really want to lower your cholesterol levels, instead of statin drugs, stay away from sweets and high carbs, and use foods and nutrients that help lower blood sugar. Fibery vegetables are important, and the minerals zinc and chromium as well. And nothing, including statin drugs, has more cholesterol-lowering properties than vitamin B3 or niacin. That's today's moment of truth. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.
This one kind of hits home for me because I grew up in a margarine home. So when I was a little kid, I would be slathering margarine on white pieces of bread and just eating them with dinner, like 3 at a time for dinner. So this one hits home for me big time, and nobody really knows about this. So I'm here to expose it. If you're eating margarine or any hydrogenated vegetable oil at all, you're eating toxic waste. The process that creates these hydrogenated vegetable oils is utterly disgusting. They basically just bathe it in a bunch of chemicals and then extract the quote-unquote food after that. You can look it up how they make it for yourself. I don't really know the full process, but it's the most disgusting stuff you've ever seen in the world. And your body recognizes it, rightly so, as the toxic waste that it is. So if you intake margarine into your body, you're literally just putting a bomb in your body and saying, "Hey there, buddy, just explode in my stomach and cause a bunch of free radical damage." It's even worse for you than denatured cholesterol is in terms of free radical damage. But I'll let you do the research for yourself on this one.
How many of you ever heard of free radicals? Good. How many of you heard of trans fatty acids? Yeah, these are common words today. Everybody in the street, even little 6-year-old kids know about these things. And yet doctors continue to recommend to consume free radicals and trans fatty acids. If I were to come out with a product, Dr. Wallach's 100% pure free radicals, the finest trans fatty acids in the world, and I'd label and put them in a health food store, how many people would buy them? 0. Yeah, I wouldn't sell any of them. And yet, everybody listens to the doctors when the doctors say, "I want you to use margarine instead of butter." Margarine is nothing more than a big block of trans fatty acids and free radicals. It is pure 100% trans fatty acids and free radicals. They've killed more Americans with margarine in America than all the wars put together in the 200 plus years we've been a country, both domestic and foreign. And so if you have any margarine at home tonight, I want you to go home and box it up and ship it UPS to Castro. Put a little note in there that says, my cardiologist says this is good for your heart, and I, in a show of good faith, I'm sending you some margarine. Hopefully he'll be stupid enough to use it.
So if you're watching me on social media at all, you're constantly seeing me talking about eggs. I talk about it all the time, how you have to eat at least 4 a day, preferably 6, but they've been expensive as hell lately, so that's not exactly feasible, or it's not as feasible as it used to be. But you're always seeing me talk about eggs and eating eggs. Well, this is why. This is completely why everything I'm doing in this video is why I do it all the time, and why I think you're crazy for not doing it. So I guess that's it. But thing here, gotta learn to make them poached, soft boiled, or soft scrambled. That basically means if you make them soft scrambled, do it on very low heat, and it should take you about 10 minutes before your eggs are scrambled, and they should be very fluffy and relatively wet. This is the worst way to do it. The other way, second best way, is poached. You can make those in the microwave. I'm going to make a video on how to do it in the microwave. It's a pretty simple process. And believe it or not, microwaves don't destroy food and they don't make them toxic. That's another lie that everybody believes. But the best way to make them is soft-boiled. Everybody should know how to make a soft-boiled egg. Depending on your elevation and where you are in the world, it'll be different. But here in the city I'm living in, it takes 6 minutes to do a soft-boiled egg perfectly. Well, 6.5 minutes to do it perfectly on relatively low heat. You're just going to have to figure that one out on your own. But the thing you got to remember, don't ever eat the cholesterol cooked, which is the yolk. So when you're eating an egg, you want to not cook the yolk. You want to consume the yolk when it is runny. If it's not at least somewhat runny, you're eating denatured cholesterol, and you shouldn't be doing that because it's causing damage to your body. Although in the case of an egg, as long as you don't superheat it super bad, you should be okay with a couple here and there. But you always want to make sure to eat your eggs with a runny yolk and basically, quote-unquote, uncooked. You can eat all the raw eggs you want and never have to worry about a thing in the world. As long as you have strong stomach acid.
I like to have my patients eat 6 to 10 eggs a day. The more eggs you eat, the lower your cholesterol goes. The more eggs you eat, the lower your cholesterol goes. And I personally eat 6 eggs a day, so I hope you do too. They're great protein. And if you don't fry them, don't cook them in margarine. You want to poach them, soft boil them, hard boil them, soft scramble them in butter at low temperature. In actuality, low-density lipoproteins and high-density lipoproteins are the same. It's just the LDLs have been damaged by free radicals. Eating French fries, eating fried foods of any kind, fried chicken, fried fish, chicken fried steaks, eating fried okra, croutons, anything that's fried, you're going to find that it damages the good cholesterol and converts it into the bad cholesterol. Otherwise, cholesterol is cholesterol is cholesterol. And so cholesterol in of itself is not bad. It's an essential nutrient, and it's the fact that we allow it to get damaged. So we have to do several things. Number one, we have to continue taking in cholesterol to meet our needs. But secondly, we have to make sure that we have the antioxidants, which are extremely important. I believe that antioxidants are the 5th group of essential nutrients behind vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids, and the antioxidants. We cannot make them. They're required for life. If you don't have enough of them, you get these horrible collections of degenerative and disabling diseases, many of which are life-threatening. So they fit the definition of an essential nutrient. There's over, 25 diseases. There's over 25 diseases that I know of that have been created in the last 50 years because physicians in industrialized nations, primarily in America, these physicians have not only encouraged but instructed and demanded that their patients give up cholesterol, restrict cholesterol, lower their blood cholesterols, get it out of their diet, don't even walk in the same room with it. And as a result, there's been 25 new diseases, everything from seizure disorders to dementias and so forth. And I'm just going to pick one of them. This disease was a disease that did not occur 40 years ago. Even by another name, this disease did not occur.
Well, this probably will come as a shock to you, but if you ever want to know how to get rich, well, what you should do is you should become a doctor And then you should be a morally bankrupt person who hands out prescriptions like you wouldn't believe, because that's the only way to make money as a doctor, is by being unscrupulous and completely taking advantage of the patients that you have. So any doctor that you know that is rich, there's a very, very good chance that this guy was just taking advantage of a bunch of patients and taking kickbacks from insurance companies and writing out needless scripts that are leading people to have massive health problems. We could shut this entire industry down by simply a little bit of knowledge. That's what I'm doing here. So if we don't do that, they're just going to keep taking advantage of you and treating you like human cattle, like they have been doing all this time, just so they can get a bigger bonus at the end of the year. Well, they get paid in bonuses all different kinds of ways. The number of ways a doctor can get a kickback off a patient is really, truly criminal when you really look into it. And believe it or not, or believe me, I am going to cover this aspect of the criminality of the medical profession in full.
And so these are very simple things that we can do to eliminate the unnecessary cost of this huge segment of our industry, this medical profession that we have. We can actually reduce it, I think, by 75 to 80%. And that's a big picture, because we're talking about 1.8 trillion, that's with a T, $1.8 trillion for the medical system in America. We rank 26, so we know we're not getting our money's worth. We still have a growing rate of cardiovascular disease, especially arteriosclerosis and atherosclerosis. And the medical system's view of dealing with it is to lower cholesterol, put in stents into coronary arteries and carotid arteries, which are just little springs that they put in the artery to kind of keep it open from collapsing. And we have to remember, when you deal with a plugged artery simply by putting a little spring in a 2 or 3 millimeter blockage, you're not dealing with a systemic problem. You're still going to get Alzheimer's disease. You're still going to get arteriosclerosis in the arteries that feed the kidneys. You're still going to get arteriosclerosis in the arteries that feed the brain. You're going to get all kinds of other dementias. You're going to get things like senile dementia. Senile dementia, of course, is just plugging of the arteries, whereas Alzheimer's disease is a disease of the myelin, or the fatty insulation material, which is almost 100% cholesterol. So you have two different dementias, and a lot of doctors will misinform you and say, well, we had Alzheimer's disease 100 years ago. No, we didn't. It was senile dementia, which was the plugged arteries. And we have to appreciate that if you take in the antioxidants, you avoid damaging the cholesterol in your brain, you avoid damaging the cholesterol in your blood, and you avoid damaging the cholesterol in your diet. Take in those antioxidants, no frying, you will have a great life. You'll be 110 years old and still able to learn how to fly.
Now, this will come as a surprise to a lot of people, but while the vegans are really, really stupid, and while they get mostly everything wrong, they do have a lot of good ideas in a lot of cases, and really, truly the best way to describe a good diet would be to say, I'm a vegan who eats a whole bunch of meat, and I don't care who gets mad at that. I really don't care. That's the best way to describe the optimal diet for a human being. But you got to make sure your meat and eggs and all of your cholesterol sources have not been denatured by the cooking process. So if you really want to know what I am, well, I'm a vegan that eats about 6 eggs a day and about a pound of red meat a day. So that's what I am.
Another view of the cholesterol myth, one of the things I have a lot of experience at is doing autopsies. I'm a pathologist as well as a veterinarian and a physician. And I've done as many as 17,500 autopsies in over 454 species of animals and 3,000 human beings for comparison. And what I learned was that every animal and every human being that dies of natural causes dies of a nutritional deficiency disease. And this brings us to the cholesterol connection. You would think that if cholesterol and saturated fat and animal fat was the cause of plugged arteries, arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis, that it would be the bobcats and the foxes and the wolves and the lions and tigers and bears that would have the plugged arteries, because they're the meat eaters. Those are the ones that eat red meat and fat. But on the other hand, The actual animal that gets the high rate of atherosclerosis and arteriosclerosis are pheasants and sheep and goats, the ones who eat nothing but grains and grasses and hay and so forth. And of course this leaves you with a quandary, because why would herbivores get arteriosclerosis and atherosclerosis and all the carnivores don't? Well, the reason is, of course, arteriosclerosis and atherosclerosis are not caused by elevated blood cholesterol and triglycerides.
Well, all I really got to say to preface this clip right here is the incompetence of doctors is off the charts. Like, you could take a person like me, and I could provide you with information that will lead you to have much greater chances at fertility than any of the greatest fertility specialists in the world could ever provide you, and I could do it for nothing. These people will charge you $500,000. They'll charge you $2 million for their bullshit fertility treatments. Yes, come get our fertility treatment. You'll spend $500,000 there, sir, and you'll have a baby born with 6 arms. Yeah, that's pretty much what this shit's coming to in the long run. But if you want to get out of that and you want to have a real healthy baby, well, first thing you should do is get on a cholesterol-rich diet, because one of the main reasons for that is if you do that, you can't really, you're going to have a hard time eating all the shit that's going to lead you to have a deformed baby. But if you don't want to have a deformed baby, there's a whole lot of other stuff you got to cover. But if you don't cover the cholesterol aspect, you're probably going to have a good chance you're going to have a deformed baby with an 80 IQ, which is why when you walk outside the house, you see most of what you see out there nowadays. Mothers who don't have a rich cholesterol intake for their dietary intake end up having babies with suboptimal IQs that end up being a bunch of zombies addicted to cell phones, robbing and beating the shit out of everybody they see. And there's going to be more of that if you don't get on a cholesterol-rich
required for fertility. Again, it's a major component of male sex hormone and female sex hormones. One of the reasons why people have trouble with impotence, for instance, is that they don't have enough cholesterol to make male sex hormones. And I get this complaint from women all the time. My husband's just not interested in chasing me around the kitchen anymore. And I say, well, do you have him on a low cholesterol? Oh, yeah. I follow his doctor's instructions perfectly. No butter, no eggs, no red meat, no chicken skin. And I mean, we have him on a high carbohydrate diet, no fat, absolutely no animal fats whatsoever. And he just doesn't seem interested. Well, you start giving him 4 eggs for breakfast. Don't fry them. Don't serve them sunny side up or over easy. You want to serve them either poached, and you can add some hot sauce to make them flavorful. You can actually make them soft scrambled in butter at low temperatures. You could, for instance, serve them soft-boiled or hard-boiled. And if you do that, you'll find that he's getting interested again. Things will begin to happen when you insert the cholesterol into the system. Now, one of the early warning signals that the cholesterol in your body is being damaged are liver spots and age spots. When you have 6 of them on the outside, you have millions of them on the inside. And of course, the eye is an extension of the brain. And when you have a damaged cholesterol reserve in your body, you're not taking in enough of the antioxidants and you're consuming too many free radicals, you start getting these liver spots and age spots in the skin, millions of them in your brain, millions of them in your eyes, heart muscle, lungs, kidneys, liver, bone marrow, every place that can be damaged by these free radicals or damaged cholesterol will, in fact, show these collections of age spots or liver spots. The actual chemical name of this material is called ceroid lipofucsin. And it's kind of this golden brown color. It's not a freckle. It's a golden brown as opposed to a freckle. It tends to be a different color, totally different look to it. And they indicate that you have damaged cholesterol in your body. You have an extremely high risk for Alzheimer's disease. You have an extremely high risk for macular degeneration, cataracts, cardiovascular disease. You have an extremely high risk for cancer because if you damage the cholesterol in your body with free radicals, you're at high risk for cardiovascular disease. And so it's the damaging of not only the fats in your blood, but also the lining of your arteries, the coronary arteries, the arteries in your brain with these free radicals and the free radical damaged cholesterol, which is the problem. That's how you get plugged arteries. That's how you get atherosclerosis. That's how you get arteriosclerosis. And it was kind of fun actually way back in 1971, actually published a huge scientific article in an international human pathology journal going back to 1971. And this is where I learned very clearly, doing the autopsies, that it was the animals that ate grain and grasses and hay that actually got arteriosclerosis. It wasn't the animals that ate red meat and fat.
Kind of beating a dead horse here, but everything you're about to hear, just more and more reasons why the medical profession is completely incompetent and why they should be listened to on almost nothing at all. These people are afraid of everything that nourishes you, and we all know why. They want to treat you as an ATM, they want to use you, and they want to rob you. And if you take anything that you're about to hear in the next 3 minutes and you ask any doctor anywhere about it, they're going to look at you with a blank look on their face. That's pretty much all you need to know that somebody, if you ask, like say you take a doctor and you ask them like, hey, what's your recommendation on how many antioxidants I should get a day? No doctor anywhere is going to tell you. They're not even going to know how to measure antioxidant intake in the body in the first place, let alone provide you an answer. The answer these idiots are going to give you is something like, oh, you don't need those stupid antioxidants. Just take one of these drugs, son. Yeah, that's why they die at 58. Cornballs.
If you think about it, everybody has a relative who's lived to be 80 and 90. Many of them went on to live to be 100. And they'd cook 4 eggs for breakfast in lard or butter. They ate their chicken skin. They ate butter instead of margarine. They didn't have margarine in those days. And they did everything wrong. They smoked. They made alcohol or whiskey behind the barn. And from the time they were 16 years old, they were drunk every day for the rest of their life. And they got hit by a car at 102, crossing the street in the wrong place, jaywalking. Then when they did the autopsy on them, their arteries were still clear. Now, how can they eat all the bad stuff and smoke and drink and still have clean arteries, still be thinking sharp? Well, that's because they had this cholesterol. They were taking in antioxidants. They were eating lots of fresh vegetables out of the garden. It was actually fertilized with wood ashes. They were fertilizing their garden with wood ashes, which are the minerals that are left over when you burn away the carbon in the wood. They were mixing wood ashes in their food as culinary ashes. They were cutting their salt with it. And as we switched over to other fuels, suddenly now we didn't have high quality fruits and vegetables anymore. We didn't have minerals in these fruits and vegetables. And fruits and vegetables cannot make optimal amounts of antioxidants without mineral cofactors, because nothing in our bodies, nothing in the plant biochemistry or metabolic systems will work properly without mineral cofactors. So minerals are extremely important to reduce the risk and actually eliminate arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis. And cholesterol, again, is the big myth. It's the boogeyman. It's been made into a boogeyman. And it's really sad when people take cholesterol-lowering drugs, the statin drugs, and they do that. They actually can get their cholesterol down to 104, 110, 120, and doctors are joyful. Well, you're going to be on this drug for the rest of your life. That's because they actually get either a kickback or some kind of funding as a research associate, if you will, for the pharmaceutical companies for prescribing these statin drugs to lower cholesterol, when in fact lowering cholesterol has little or nothing to do with the production of arteriosclerosis and atherosclerosis. You have to avoid the free radicals, and you have to actually consciously consume cholesterol. You can't damage it by frying it. You can poach it, roast it, bake it, stew it, and but you can't damage it by frying it or cooking it in margarine. And then cholesterol is safe. And then you have to, again, supplement not only with all the known essential nutrients, you have to supplement with the phytonutrients known as antioxidants. And when you do that, when you supplement with the antioxidants, that actually protects the cholesterol, so you have a higher grouping of good cholesterol. You want to have 3 times as much HDL as you do LDL. That's the correct ratio. And you do this by taking in lots of antioxidants, lots of green leafy vegetables, lots of tomatoes, lots of red things, yellow things.
So if you're new to this, my last video that I made before this one was called I Know the Cure for Every Disease on Earth. And I do know the cure for every disease on Earth. I'll fight you if you don't think I do. I really don't care, because I do, and it's true no matter what you think, believe, do, or say, and you're never going to change that. So, but here's the thing. This answer to health that I went over in the other video, well, yeah, it's all good and dandy, but the only way it works, the only way all these antioxidants, minerals, amino acids, vitamins, and all that can go together and work together in your body is if you provide a diet high in cholesterol as the base format for your health. Like if you don't fill in cholesterol, nothing else works. Don't know how many ways to say it. You should learn it for yourself.
So we need the carotenoids, flavonoids, bioflavonoids. You want things like rutins out of the citrus fruits. And then, of course, in green tea, we have some wonderful antioxidants known as catechins, or EGCGs. And this is one of the reasons why the Japanese, they are heavy meat eaters. They are heavy fryers. The Japanese actually will smoke, and they're heavy drinkers. And yet they have 85% less cardiovascular disease than we do, 85% less cancer than we do. And so this myth of cholesterol is just that. Cholesterol is a myth, and the whole society in industrialized nations, number one is America, of course, and if lowering cholesterol was the answer to health and longevity, then we should be number one, because we spend more time and money getting our cholesterol down than any other nation on earth, yet we rank 26th in longevity. There's 25 other countries whose peoples live longer than we do. The people in the third world countries don't get Alzheimer's disease. They don't get arteriosclerosis and atherosclerosis. And do you think that they give up animal fat? Do you think they avoid eating eggs? Do you think they don't eat butter? They eat all that stuff. And it's very, very important. But they also drink a lot of green tea. They also eat a lot of vegetables that come from gardens that are fertilized with wood ashes. And so these are very simple things that we can do to eliminate the unnecessary cost of this huge segment of our industry, this medical profession that we have. We can actually reduce it.
Cholesterol we also get from the good foods that we recommend. Full fat milk, cheese, eggs, butter, real butter, not margarine. Meat cooked rare, liver, and organ meat, loaded with cholesterol, and the mighty chicken egg. All right? All these things are high in cholesterol, and cholesterol is not the enemy.
Soft-boiled egg gang. Alright, so make an easy soft-boiled egg. Throw a pan full of water, boil it, about enough water to cover the eggs by about 1 inch. Boil it for 6 minutes, take it out, bam. Nice runny yolk, soft-boiled egg. Amazing stuff. Packed with cholesterol, packed with other various vital nutrients that you can't really get from other foods. But yeah, this is about the favorite part of my day. All 5 of these, well, I used to do about 18 of these a day, but for now, 5 a day of these, oh man, I just love it. Dude, I love eggs so much. I just gotta keep chewing it up just to keep the wonderful flavor in my mouth, because it's the best part of the day. I don't know how it's not for you. All 5 of them babies. Alright, so I swallowed my salt down already, and we got my beef liver in my hand here. Yum, yum, yum. Raw beef liver. Oh, man. Oh. Oh, I got simple as that. I'm going to do a second bite for you. Here's the second one. It's pretty... This does take a little getting used to. I'm not going to lie. But, once you get used to it, I mean, it's pretty easy. I'm not gonna lie, it's gross, but the way you feel after you eat some liver, well, I'll let you decide on that one. The way I feel after I eat liver, that's why I started eating in the first place. Actually, I was a vegetarian for a while. One of the first things I ate, just ate a whole bunch of raw beef liver because they told me I could. Because I used to believe a bunch of stuff that you couldn't eat, raw meat, and a whole bunch of stuff like that. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna try it, see if they're lying or not. So I ate a whole bunch of raw beef liver, and I fucking felt like a superhuman animal or something like that. Because, I mean, when you get a huge dose of cholesterol after being a vegetarian for a year, well, your body, it's like putting rocket fuel in your body. So I don't know what to tell you. For those of you who don't know about cholesterol, It's the greatest hack you can ever have on the mind, body, the soul, everything you ever want to deal with in terms of goodness that is good in the human form. Well, get through cholesterol. It drives brain function. The reason you all got ADHD is because you got cholesterol deficiencies. The reason you can't do anything is because you got cholesterol deficiencies. Raw beef liver. Oh.
Let's look at cholesterol first. It's actually a steroid. It's the raw material that we make things in our bodies with. I believe that cholesterol is an essential nutrient, just like the omega-3 essential fatty acids and the omega-6s and vitamins and minerals, amino acids, that cholesterol is in fact an essential nutrient. And I believe in the next few weeks or years, certainly they're going to declare officially, quietly, that cholesterol is an essential nutrient. We can't make enough to fulfill our needs. We must consume it either as meat or eggs or dairy products or chicken skin. We have to take in some cholesterol someplace. If you look at male hormones, testosterone, female hormones, estrogen and progesterone, if you look at adrenal hormones, these are made up of cholesterol. It's a basic raw material that all our hormones, well, I can't say all our hormones, but it's a basic raw material that our steroid type hormones are made from. Cholesterol, even vitamin D. The chemical name for vitamin D is 7-hydroxycholesterol. All right, cholesterol is not bad. Your blood cholesterol and triglycerides go up when you have diabetes. Don't take my word for it. Go to the library and look in a medical book on diagnoses. What's the first blood changes that occur when you have diabetes? Elevated blood cholesterol and triglycerides.
Well, this is a new one for me, but I've been doing this for a while now. So I take either potatoes, rice, quinoa, or teff. And I'm trying to figure out some other options besides those four, but I take two of those four, maybe three of those four, mix them up in a bowl. And then generally boiled potatoes, but then you take a whole bunch of salt, pepper, throw it on top. Then you can take some beef tallow like this. Take a nice spoonful, mix it in there. But generally, I actually will mix in the fat and the juice content left over from sous vide meat cooking. So like sous vide after it's done leaves a whole bunch of juices in a bag. Usually I mix that in there, but today I was eating liver, so I gotta throw some beef tallow in there. Nice extra source of cholesterol, that beef tallow is. You want some of that liver? Hey, give me a kiss so you can get that liver. Hey, that wasn't a kiss. Give me a kiss. There you go, Pickles. See, your dogs know what's good. You don't, but your dogs do.